What is the first thing you think of when you hear Japan? Do you like to ponder the flourishing literature or the rise of samurais? Hello, I'm Rosie Jogonzola, and if you have ever wondered about any of these questions, let me enlighten you with how these subjects came about. Not only that, but how these events instituted a more just system of laws for everyone in early Japan. Due to conflict between the shogunate class and the imperial government because of unjust rules, a civil war took place, the Genpei War. This ended the Heian Period and began the Kamakura Period, bringing compromise with a new set of laws between the aristocrat and peasant classes. We first trace the origins of samurais and literature in Japan to the Heian Period. This period started in 794 BC in Han-kyo, Japan. Japan during the Han period believed that those who were taught Chinese and Buddhism were educated and were worthy of becoming a part of the imperial court. Those who were educated were considered to be a part of the aristocratic class. The Han period prioritized this class, who also created the two sets of Japanese characters, hiragana and katakana, which paved a way for a new wave in literature. An example of an aristocrat during the Han period was Murasaki Shikibu. Shikibu was born in 978 in Kyoto, Japan, to the Fujiwara family. Historians do not know much about her mother, but do know that her father was a scholar, poet, and a governor of a province. Her father always praised her for how quickly she had learned new subjects. He always wished that she was a boy, but that did not stop him from sending her to lessons for Chinese and Buddhism with her brother during her childhood. These lessons were not usually meant for women, especially her age. After a couple of years, she later married when she was in her 20s to Fujiwara Nobutaka, a distant relative of hers. They had a daughter in 999. 2 years later, in 1001, her husband died. Shikibu was later brought to court by the imperial family because of her intelligence. For 2 years, she kept a diary about her life at court. She struggled immensely during this time because she wanted to share her knowledge of Chinese, yet was afraid of criticism and did not want to be thought of as unladylike. This was because of the idea that men were the only ones that should be educated and thought of as manly. For a woman to have this knowledge, it would be looked down upon. During her time in court, she was also credited as the writer of The Tale of Genji, which is a story of human emotions and beauty of nature and accurately depicts the aristocratic aspect of the Heian period. One chapter in which the culture was displayed is in chapter 8, Hana no En, or translated into the Festival of Cherry Blossoms. In this chapter, some courtiers and Genji are entertaining the emperor with poems and dances. Let's listen to a portion of the story. Tono Chujo, whose dance was garden of willows and flowers, danced with more careful and deliberate art than had Genji, perhaps because he had been prepared for the royal summons. It was so interesting a performance that the emperor presented him with a robe, a most gratifying sign of royal approval, everyone agreed. Other high courtiers danced in no fixed order, but as it was growing dark, one could not easily tell who were the better dancers. The poems were read. Genji's was so remarkable that the reader paused to comment upon each line. The professors were deeply moved. Since Genji was for the emperor a shining light, the poem could not fail to move him too. As for the empress, she wondered how Kokiden could so hate the youth, and reflected on her own misfortune in being so strangely drawn to him.
Other than being thought to be the world's oldest full novel, it is generally considered the greatest work of Japanese literature. Some of her early Genji manuscripts were lost, but the other Genji manuscripts were later found in the early 12th century.
The poor in society did not live a better life than the aristocrats. They were looked down upon and mainly worked to support the rich by farming, which was deemed unfair by them.
The imperial court centered itself within the Han culture, making them feel that there was no need to pay attention to the poor workers. This led to the Minamoto clan finding a way to overthrow the imperial court in hopes for a fair set of laws for everyone. They fought with the Taira clan in order to gain control for a new government and had a series of battles that contributed to the Genpei War.
The Genpei War ended in the victory of the Minamoto clan, which began the Kamakura Period. Some aspects of the imperial government were kept for ceremonial purposes, yet this period was overall under the rule of the shogunate or military government. This compromise allowed Japan to still have some of its Heian culture, but also allowed the military to rule over Japan and change the laws to support all of the social classes. This transition allowed people, the poor and rich alike, to live under just laws for a fair amount of time.
The Heian Period and the Kamakura Period both contributed to our lives today. The Heian Period changed literature forever through the multiple masterpieces, like the Tale of Genji, creating a way for novels of today to come about. Likewise, the Kamakura Period contributed to Japanese society today, through the spread of ruling samurais and creating a government that was able to make a more equal environment for both the aristocrat and poorer classes, and setting set of laws that are still semi-used today.